All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the weekly Team Fireball call. We're so glad you're here. And if you're watching the replay, welcome to the replay. That's why we do these, is so that you can watch them later if you can't be here live. It's all cool. If you don't know me, I'm Krsiti Simpson. I am a Pro 5 here in LifeVantage, and I am so excited to share with you guys what I've got to share. Now, while I was coming up with this stuff for today, it was actually yesterday. I had a totally different idea planned for the call tonight. And then I was reading some on book 4. I don't know if you horse people have ever heard of Mark Rashid. He is a horse trainer out of Colorado, out of Estes Park, Colorado. And I'm on the 4th book of his, and I am loving his philosophies. But this most recent one, I was kind of reluctant to listen to, frankly, because it was about the martial art he does is Aikido. Aikido, it's Aikido. And I'm not really into martial arts, have never been interested. But it was fascinating because he was talking about balance and harmony and how, working with horses is the same. But then he got into breathing and how important breathing is. And he even recommended a book. It was the only book he'd ever recommended. And it was called Breathing by, I don't even remember her name, Fari or something like that. Well, I looked it up on Audible. I was like, I'm going to check this out because he never recommends books. And it was not available on Audible. However, one called Breath by James Nestor was. And I went and looked it up, looked at the reviews, raving reviews. It's been translated into over 30 languages. It's won 2 awards, and it just came out in 2020, so it's up to date. So I was very intrigued because Mark Rashid actually talked about the breathing being able to heal people and to be able to, I'm not going to say cure, but helping allergies immensely. So I was intrigued. I was like, I've heard about deep breathing. I was introduced to new breathing methods years ago when I very first started yoga. In yoga you do pranayama, and it's very helpful and healing, and it's good for you. And then a few years ago, Alice and I were presenting, or we had a booth at a holistic fair, and there was a lady there from Greece. And if you guys don't know the story, we ended up going to Greece with this lady. But it was the first time we'd ever met her was at this holistic fair, and she gave this presentation where she's talking about all this wonderful stuff, and then she talks about breathing methods. And she does this weird thing and has us all do it. Weird thing of closing one nostril and breathing, and then breathing out through your mouth, and then going to the other nostril. And I just remember, you guys, I was like, this is too much for me. First of all, I have allergies. Most of the time, my nasal passages are clogged. So there's no way I can do both nostrils. Sometimes not even one nostril. So I just kind of was like, okay, I'm going to keep that at arm's length. I'm not going to even listen to that part until I start listening to this book yesterday. And I feel like it was the universe thing. It was a God thing telling me, you need to talk about this, because it was being thrown at me from all sides. Then Alice yesterday on Facebook tags me in a post from one of her favorite yoga instructors, Megan, who's doing a free pranayama meditation session every Saturday in September. And you guys, I'm all over that. I'm going. I was like, that's one more thing that was thrown at me yesterday. I said, okay, I'm listening. I'm going to be doing this. So I jumped on this book and started listening to this book, like trying to scramble to get it into my head so I was ready for tonight. And so I've got a little bit to share with you. There's no way on God's green earth I could possibly share the entirety of what he covered in the book. But let me tell you, if you're interested in this kind of thing, I highly recommend this book. It's excellent. It's very intriguing, and there were a whole lot of aha moments. And he does it with great stories. He's a journalist. James Nestor is a journalist, so he knows how to tell a story. So let me just share my screen so I can show you what I'm talking about. I have some visual aids because Lord knows I need visual aids, you guys. Okay, there we go. All right, first of all, congratulations to Jenny Field and Terry Hoblet for getting new customers last week. We always want to include that. And if you haven't heard, Jenny, congratulations on getting third place in the contest, the big Team Global Aloha contest for who could sell the most collagen. You guys, it's a big deal because the team is huge. And Jenny was third. The first place was Angie Huntley. Second place was Sarah McDermott. And third, of course, Jenny. And she won $75 cash from Daisy and a free ticket to Global. That's awesome. Jenny, we are so proud of you. You rock. Let me just say, you rock. Congratulations. And one more little announcement before I get started on the PowerPoint, and that is Global. So we've talked about this. It was actually Alice's idea, and I've gotten started on these little, you know how awesome these are? Well, I bought a bunch of them from Amazon. They're right on wipe off, and I'm gluing horse emojis on the bottom. I left space up here so that we can write like equine, pro tandem equine on the top, or whatever you want to write. And you guys at Global, we're going to be flashing these to Steve Fife, CEO. So just, I'll bring plenty to share. Oh, and the other side has the running horse emoji. So I just wanted to tell you guys that we're doing this, and I should have enough for everybody who wants to be flashing Steve Fife at Global. We're also working on t-shirts. More to come soon on that. We're gonna have t-shirts, y'all. We're all gonna match at Global. It's gonna be so cool. So excited. Okay, so focus, Krsiti, focus. Okay. So the topic for tonight is breathing imbalance. And the breathing definitely has to do with balance, right? It's going to help us stay in balance with ourselves and our mental states. And then there's also the balance of gut health, because Lord knows we need balance and gut health too, right? So I figured that they go together. And so this is the name of the book, Breathe, by The New Science of a Lost Art by James Nestor. And again, you guys, I cannot recommend this book enough. If you are at all into alternative health, which you wouldn't be here if you weren't, right? You keep your mind open. So, and basically, this is just a little summary from his website. Modern research in pulmonology, psychology, biochemistry, and human physiology is showing us that making even slight adjustments to the way we inhale and exhale can help jumpstart athletic performance, rejuvenate internal organs, halt snoring, allergies, asthma, and some autoimmune disease, and even straighten spines. None of this should be possible, and yet it is. Yeah, it was incredible. I was in denial and shock when I read that. I was like, there's no way. But read the book, because he explains why and how. And of course, the whole idea of asthma really got my attention, because I've had asthma since I was 5 years old. So I have a real invested interest in this topic. So here's another little bit about it. This is also from his website, and these are the prizes that he was awarded, and he was finalist for the other. And now it will be translated into more than 35 languages in 2021, including Mongolian. Wow. The tome, he likes to call his book a tome. It's not that thick. Explores the million-long history of how the human species has lost the ability to breathe properly, and why we're suffering from a laundry list of maladies, snoring, sleep apnea, asthma, autoimmune disease, allergies because of it. I ended up traveling the world in an attempt to figure out what went wrong and how to fix it. The answers I discovered weren't found in pulmonology labs, but in the muddy digs of ancient burial sites, secret Soviet facilities, New Jersey choir schools, and the smoggy streets of Sao Paulo. Drawing on thousands of years of medical text and recent cutting-edge technologies in pulmonology, psychology, biochemistry, and human physiology, breath turns the conventional wisdom of what we thought we knew about our most basic biological function on its head. So, guys, I don't know about you, but as a scientist, I've always understood that breath is simple. It's a gas exchange. You breathe in, you breathe out, you breathe in oxygen, you breathe out CO2. Pretty simple, right? It should be that simple, but he's maintaining that it is not, that there is so much more to breath that none of us have considered before. And I think it's really worth looking into, because the ancients knew a lot of this stuff. And I'll go on and explain a little bit more. This is just a quote from him that I found on the internet. It's awesome, and it kind of puts his book in a nutshell. It turns out that when breathing at a normal rate, our lungs will absorb only about a quarter of the available oxygen in the air. The majority of that oxygen is exhaled back out. By taking longer breaths, we allow our lungs to soak up more in fewer breaths. So if you take away nothing else from this book, take away that, because it's about taking longer, slower breaths. And he said that the ideal is 5.5 breaths per minute. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you an example. This is the Buteyko, I think that's how you pronounce it, breathing method. Buteyko was a Russian who came up with this decades ago, but people are practicing this worldwide. And I was looking on their website, and this is where I got that information from. And it's recommended that you take a class to do this, but you don't have to. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You just have to be mindful about doing it and sitting down and doing it, and it's not that hard. So to do it, you can sit on the floor or in the chair, and you make sure you have a straight spine, so you can sit upright. So you open up your lungs to have as much space in them as possible, and you exhale out. You breathe normally for a few minutes, and then you exhale and hold. And then you plug your nose. And you wait as long as you possibly can. And I did this earlier today, and it talks about an involuntary movement of your diaphragm, and I did have that. It was almost like a hiccup. And then I inhaled. And then you breathe normally for 10 seconds, and then you repeat. And that's the control pause. And the control pause is just how long you can do it at first. And they want you to build up for this to be 1 minute that you breathe out and hold. Now, I have really crappy lung function. I could only do it for 10 seconds. And then I was like, I gotta have air. So obviously I've got some work to do before I can build up to 1 minute. But they said that you just do it at your own pace and increase at your own pace, and not get worried about it. That doesn't help, right? So the next is the maximum pause. And you aim for twice the length of your control pause. So if I did 10 seconds in the control pause today, I would aim for 20 seconds. And then you just repeat. And as you do it, you can do it for longer and longer periods. And they said that over time, that's where you aim for 1 minute and 2 minutes. And one of the things that Nestor was saying was that he's interviewed people who freedive, who do deep freediving. And if you don't know what freediving is, it just means that people who dive up to 300 feet down in the ocean or a lake with no equipment. They super oxygenate at the surface, and then they go down, they can hold. He said that he talked to a lady who could hold her breath for 10 minutes while freediving. Whoa, that scares the crap out of me to even think about. 10 minutes? No, I would die. But it's that these freedivers have trained themselves over time to get up to that point. So it's really, it's crazy and it's interesting at the same time. So this was what really caught my attention, is that this breathing method has been used to treat and manage asthma. And they're doing that in the UK. Like it's on their website about these UK teachers who help their patients with managing their asthma. And it's recognized by the medical community in UK. I just wish it were here. And it has the links to the studies. And I was like, I got to look at the studies. And I actually downloaded the one that's about this particular technique in asthma. And that was exciting. I haven't gotten to read it yet because I was too busy. But I do have the study. It's awesome. Okay, so not to be too abrupt, but if you want more information about the breath stuff, please message me, because I'll be happy to share the links with you. I'll be happy to share any studies that I have with you. And Alice, I just saw that. Which son is that? Eli? Trying to breathe, do the breathing method. Go for it. Oh, Jack, good job, Jack. Do it. Oh, and yeah, it's supposed to help with things like ADHD also, which kind of blew my mind. Wow, really? Okay, so this is the book that I was listening to on Audible. And frankly, guys, the whole reason that I started listening to it was because I ran out of Audible credits. I don't know if you know anything about Audible, but you get 1 credit per month, and that 1 credit buys a book. And I was trying to save money, and so I was looking on all the stuff that's on Audible for free if you have a membership. And this popped up, and I was like, "Ooh, that'll be fun." Because I'm a nerd, I admit it. But guys, it's really fabulous. It's a collection of Scientific American articles that are all about the microbiome, whether it's the gut or your skin. So did you know that? Did you know that your microbiome is not just in your gut? It's also the stuff that's living on your skin. You have it in your eyelashes. You have them in your hair. You have them in your earwax. You have them in your mouth. Everywhere in our bodies, we have these bacteria, these microbes that live, and they can't live without us, and we can't live without them. And so this was super interesting. All of the great stuff about our microbiome and why it's so important and why we need to be careful about taking care of it. And one of those things is feeding it. Another thing, our diets are killing our microbiome. Like the American diet is, they talk about that. There's a whole article that talks about that. And it's very good, very eye-opening. Let's see. There you go. Okay. So recently, I was put on antibiotics, and my doctor put me on this stuff too. And it's over the counter. And I went ahead and got it, even though it was a little bit expensive. It was $18 for a box of 20, and you're supposed to take 2 a day minimum. Could take 4 a day. And the reason I'm assuming that they're giving it is because on the box it says thrives even during antibiotic use. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this. Just yes, Alice, Twizzlers are bad for your microbiome. They are. Well, I've been eating them too, so yeah. Okay. So I was curious. So I went ahead and bought this box, and I took them while I was taking the antibiotics, along with my favorite probiotic. I took these too, but I wanted to compare this flora store that is being prescribed by medical doctors along with antibiotics, which that is new to me. It's been a long time since I had been on antibiotics, so I was kind of taken aback about this, but maybe other people are more familiar with this going on now. I think it's great, but what I don't think is great is this thing. I don't know if you can see my cursor. There's one species of probiotics in this stuff, y'all. One species. How is that helpful? How is that helpful? And they also don't mention how many CFUs. They just say that it withstands the harsh stomach environment, but it doesn't say that it has like any kind of technology that will disperse it to the proper places in your intestines, in your small and large intestine. Doesn't say anything about that. It just said that it's antibiotic resistant. It thrives during antibiotic use. And I started thinking, maybe I shouldn't have been taking these things, you guys. I was like, okay, if you go into the forest and you take down a forest with fire or raising it with machinery, or you take out all of the species, and then you want to replant it, are you going to go in there and just plant grass? No, that's not helpful. That's not good for the ecosystem. And that's what our guts are, you guys, is an ecosystem. We need more than one species, is all I'm saying. We don't need a monoculture in there. So I compared it to ProBio. We've got 6 species. We also have a natural immune booster, the beta 1316 glucans. So there's no comparison. $54 a month versus $41 a month. First of all, not that I would be taking that florist or on a monthly basis. It's not that good. This is so much better. But look at all those. It's not even the same species. The previous, it's Saccharomyces boulardii, and that's not in our probio. Thank goodness. So I was just really blown away. I love the probio anyway, but this just cemented my love for it even more, that it's just got so much more stuff and it's so much cheaper than what even doctors are prescribing. So win-win, right? All right. And here is just the CFUs on the label of our probio, on how, if you're interested in knowing how much of each species is in there. But blown away by our great probio. And that's it. And I'm going to quit sharing. Stop share. Stop share. Stop share. All right, guys. Oh, wow. It's 9:27. Hey, that's pretty good. I'm almost on time. Good stuff. Well, and if any of you want that microbiome book, I bought it as an ebook, and I'm happy to share if you're interested in reading it. The only weird thing about it is you have to download a separate app to read it as an ebook. It doesn't come as a PDF, which is weird to me, but I went ahead and downloaded the app so that I could read it on my computer. So I'm happy to share it for free if you want to read it. It's really good stuff if you're interested in what's going on in our gut and our microbiome. All right. Well, right, Allison. What do doctors know about probios? Almost nothing. It's just what the pharmaceutical companies tell them that they need to know. And ooh, yeah, Alice, I hadn't thought about that. Genetically modified species, because it's antibiotic resistant.
Yeah, but how is that? Here's some bacteria that's antibiotic resistant. Put it in your gut. That sounds good.
What could go wrong?
That is so sketchy. I understand. But it's just good what you know, and follow your gut.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
I'm just going to hang up and breathe now. 5 breaths per minute.
5.5.
That's slower than
6 seconds in, 6 seconds out.
I thought we did more like 30 breaths per minute. How many do humans do?
We're not supposed to be breathing that shallowly. We're supposed to be breathing deeply and slowly. And I've done it a lot today, honestly, and it takes a lot of concentration. Like, I had to watch the clock and watch the second hand go 6 seconds and then breathe out, and then watch it go another 6 seconds while breathing out. There's a bunch of different methods out there, you guys. It's not just the 6 and 6. There's also 4, 7, 8, which is inhale 4 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, breathe out over 8 seconds. So there's a whole bunch of patterns and modalities out there if you're interested in looking. But that was a really good one. And because, and I made the notes about this, but I totally forgot about them. Sorry, you guys. It's about religion and prayer, and that the oldest religions, they have prayers that are this pattern of 6-second prayer and then pause for 6 seconds. And including I thought was interesting. The original Ave Maria was a 6-second prayer with a 6-second pause. So it's not just Christianity. I mean, let's see, Japanese, African, Hawaiian, Native American, Buddhist, Taoist, and Christian all developed the same prayer techniques with the same pattern. Isn't that cool? So, okay, you guys, we'll stop the recording because it's 9:31, and thanks so much for being here. Love you guys.